Hello and welcome to Scott Rock.
We're your hosts from Climb Scotland, Robert Mackenzie.
And me, Cal McBain, catch up with climbers every 2 weeks who have different epic tales to tell us.
We hope you enjoy the show.
And remember, when you're out climbing, be safe and do your buddy checks.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Scott Rock. This week we have a really cool instructor here to sit down and chat with us. We have Kirsty Pallas. Kirsty is a new member of the Mountaineering Scotland team, so she didn't really have an excuse. She had to sit down with me. But she's been in the game for quite a while now. She has got her Mountaineering and Climbing Instructor Award. She's got her Winter Mountain Leader Award. She runs Mountain Leader trainings. She is almost, this year, hopefully, coming up to getting her Winter Mountaineering and Climbing Instructor Award, which is super cool. She is a really cool instructor, really great attitude to climbing and mountaineering in general, and just a really lovely person. Just nice to sit down and chat with, to be honest. It was very cool. But yeah, we sit down and we get to know a little bit about Kirsty before diving into ethics debates and gender equality within the instructor realm. And yeah, just kind of what climbing kind of means. It gets kind of deep. It gets kind of controversial. Yeah, it's good. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. I know, before you say it, it's still not the controversial podcast. That is still coming, and I think Kirsty's going to be part of that one because she's got something really good to argue about. But this is going to be good. Yeah, so here's Kirsty Pallas. Sit back and enjoy.
That was a funny day. Mm-hmm. Right, should we actually dive into this properly?
Yes.
Instead of wasting time. Dinner is cooking. Mm-hmm. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming an hour out of your way just to do this, by the way.
That's right.
Very much appreciated.
That's cool.
Dinner's provided. You're getting dinner and you get to sit in the comfy chair.
Yes, appreciated. And I got to pet a dog.
And you got to pet a dog. Is that payment?
That's allowed, yeah.
Cool, excellent. So you're not going to send me an invoice after this? It's fine. Cool, so, I mean, I don't know all of your qualifications, so I think it would be inappropriate of me to make assumptions. Mm-hmm. Would you like to give yourself a little introduction? What is your...
Yeah, so...
Who are you just now, anyway? We'll go into a little bit of history in a second, cool. But who are you now?
Work-wise,
yeah,
I work part-time for Mountaineering Scotland as one of the mountain safety team. And I freelance the rest of the time, and I hold the Winter Mountain Leader and the Mountaineering and Climbing Instructor Awards, and I'm planning to do my Winter Mountaineering and Climbing Instructor training in February.
Oof.
Yes.
You've been hoping for some wintry weather
yeah,
then.
Exactly. Assuming there's snow, it should go ahead. So, yes.
So, almost all of the qualifications.
Almost all of the mountain ones. There's obviously lots of paddling and biking and sailing.
They don't care. No, it's fine. The paddlers and cyclists, they don't listen to this. It's fine.
No.
They're not real sports.
Yeah. But yeah, so almost all of the UK ones at least.
So what's involved in the work you do for Mountaineering Scotland just now compared to what your freelance life looks like?
So some of the courses are similar. We run a safety program where members can book on to courses that are going to upskill them to hopefully stay safe, and it's looked at through this mountain rescue stats. So we look at what causes mountain rescues to be called out, and then is there ways we can remedy that.
So, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I actually had no idea about that.
So the courses include a variety of navigation, so daytime, night nav, and winter, and then mountain skills, which looks at navigation as well as a bit like planning your day, what you carry, a bit of moving around on steep and unpleasant ground, like scree and steep, heathery, grassy stuff.
The fun stuff.
Exactly, yeah, the stuff that I love to end up on. And then winter skills as well.
Cool.
So that's kind of the course delivery side of things. And then the rest of it is looking at, I guess, like safety messaging. What
The kind of almost marketing and media side of it.
Yeah. Thinking about the time of year and what would be good for not just our membership, but hopefully the wider public to know about. So, the current stuff is like around autumn, clocks going back, all that kind of stuff is much easier to get caught out in the dark, and things are wetter and colder. Although it's been a pretty rubbish summer.
Yes.
But yeah, so I guess they're kind of the two main parts of my job. I'm quite, quite delivery focused.
Yeah, the best way to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of hands-on stuff.
So is it kind of different to what you do in freelance life then?
Some of it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I could run navigation courses freelance as well, but these ones are, the Mountaineering Scotland ones are for the membership.
Yeah.
And they've got more of a safety slant on it, so they're subsidised as well.
Yeah.
Like a membership perk too. But
hint, plug,
yes,
get a membership.
But I tend not to do so much of that work freelance. If I'm freelancing, I prefer to have a bit of variety. So for me, it might be winter skills stuff in winter, or kind of winter walking, or like climbing, rock climbing, teaching climbing, guiding scrambles, working on mountain leader trainings, that kind of thing.
So there's still a lot of like teaching skills rather than just kind of like a standard guiding day.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I think I would struggle if all I did was guiding. I really enjoy teaching, but teaching can be quite tiring, so I enjoy not having to always
like
teach.
the odd rest day.
Yeah.
Or we'll just walk up the bend for a rest day.
Yeah, exactly. Don't need to tell. Nobody's interested in learning how to do any of these things, so they just want to come here for the experience. So that's quite nice.
Nice. So how did you get into climbing, mountaineering? Where did that kind of start? And at what point did you decide that you wanted to be an instructor or a guide in this? Like, I know this is a question that you're going to get asked loads, but I'm sure there's people that haven't heard you here. So let's just go through it really quickly.
So when I left school at the end of 6th year, I was quite academic at school, but I knew I didn't want to go to uni at that point. I was kind of like...
Hang on, at this point, were you a climber yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I climbed indoors.
Right.
So I lived like 45 minutes from the ice factory, and I'd been up a couple of times. And I'd done Duke of Edinburgh at school. My parents had always taken me and my sister out walking, hill walking stuff. But yeah, I wasn't a climber through school or anything. I didn't really know much about climbing, I don't think. So straight out of school, I went into a modern apprenticeship with a local organisation, so I was Open based. Where did you meet Gordon today? He was sat next to me.
Yeah.
So Gordon was the senior instructor there.
Really?
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. And we've kept in touch. And we've gone out climbing and stuff since. So Gordon was senior instructor there, and he took me climbing. He took me winter climbing first.
First?
Yeah. So
trial by fire.
Yeah.
I love it.
So Gordon was senior instructor, and he took me and Emma, who's the other apprentice, out kind of like climbing and mountaineering to start off with, and just kind of took off from there.
So the apprenticeship was the aim of the apprenticeship was to become an instructor, not just kind of get you into the sport.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like a working apprenticeship.
It was an outdoor education apprenticeship. Right. Yeah.
What made if you weren't a climber that before,
Yeah.
what made you decide that was the route?
I'd done work experience at an outdoor centre. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd done my work experience there, and so
Man,
it
that
was
would
really
have been
fun.
a really cool week.
It was really fun, and so I did that obviously in school time, and then went back in the
Yeah.
school holidays because I'd enjoyed it.
Nice.
So I was going to say when the opportunity for an apprenticeship came up, it wasn't exactly there, and I badgered until it was there. And then the opportunity appeared.
Appeared.
Yeah.
As in, he finally gave in.
Yeah.
I was like, right, have the job.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll take it on then. And then I got into that, and then at that point I was 17, and I remember learning about the Mountain Training Awards, because all of that again was new, and you couldn't register for any of them until you were 18. So I started in August. My birthday's in January, so I had a bit of time before I could register. And I remember around that time, like, just really reading into the whole pathway, and at that point, after I'd done a wee bit of winter climbing, probably not even that much, but I knew that I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it.
Fully
so
commit.
I wanted to be a WMCI from then, and the kind of small goal I set myself was to get there by the time I'm 30.
Woofed.
Which I'm not sure if I will, but, we've had a COVID year, had some bad winters.
Yeah, we've had a few bad winters. COVID
So,
year, okay.
Yeah, the COVID year meant
Hang on, how long have you got?
I turned 29 in this coming January.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I mean, like, my MCI assessment was pushed a year back because of COVID, so.
Yeah.
A COVID year, definitely.
So you can take one
one more year into that.
more year.
And then
False
if
year.
there's a few rubbish winters and, like, assessments get cancelled, then that's just the way of it. I mean, like, nothing bad's going to happen if I don't get there by the time I'm 30.
No.
Like,
Man, that's such a super ambitious target as well.
I know.
God.
Yeah.
By the time you're 30. I like that you just went, right, cool, this is, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go absolutely
Whole hog. Yeah.
all out, hardcore, let's go,
Yeah.
WMCI.
Yeah.
At no point in my entire life have I ever even considered the idea of WMCI. That.
Yeah. I don't think I even knew any WMCIs at the time. Or I'd had very brief interactions with them.
Why that far? Like, was it the winter thing that gave you that passion, or was it like, if I'm going to be an instructor, I'm going to have all the tickets?
I think that was it. I just thought, if I'm going to do it, I may as well do it all.
All. Yeah.
Just do it all. And I did enjoy winter stuff. I had, some great winter climbs.
Full commitment.
Yeah.
Max respect to that.
Yeah. So now, like, I can't be like, I think I've gone far enough, Like, well, my 18-year-old self thought I could do it, so
I mean,
better get on with it.
What's going to be after WMCI? That's going to be like,
well, it's
you can
weird.
go down the guide scheme, get that as well.
No.
Go international.
No. It was weird because last year, after doing my MCI assessment, I was like, for the first time in, like, my adult working life, I have no summer qualifications to work towards.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, so this year, I haven't had to think about logging anything really. And it's been really weird.
Actually just go and play.
Yeah.
For play's sake.
Yeah. And then the weather was rubbish.
Yes.
So then, and I worked outside, and then when I was not having to work outside, I was like, no, don't want to go outside.
Oh, brilliant. Right, we're going to get deep for a second. Because there was something we chatted about earlier, and I think it was Lou said something about when she was going through her qualifications and that, and there's a couple of other people mentioned that the female instructors that got into it, I'm going to say back in the day, I hope they don't listen to me, they're going to punch me. Back in the day, they were hardcore.
Yeah, they have to be.
They were tough as nails to take. Apologies for the swear. Take no shit.
Yeah.
Hardcore people, like they were intimidating, and yeah, like you're right. They had to be. And you said earlier that it's changed enough now that you're not going to get funny looks if you walk in with wearing makeup and nail polish.
Yeah.
Like, what's caused that change? Like, how much has it actually changed? And like, I wonder how far down the line we are.
Yeah, so I think there's been a few changes. It's not just that there's more women in the industry.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know that the statistics don't suggest there's more women, because looking back over the last kind of 30 years, statistically, in terms of percentage of number of female instructors in the higher awards, that's not gone up. But
is it the case though that there's more women but there's also more men?
Yeah.
So it's just the numbers have gone up, the stats haven't changed then. Yeah.
Yes. And I think as well, the visibility has, like, social media has had a massive effect on the visibility of the people in these higher roles. But I think the other thing that's changed is a move, not necessarily a move away, but a change of focus in that hard technical skills aren't the only important thing. And there's a lot more focus on the soft skills. And I think by doing that, it's not just allowed more women, but it's allowed more people who don't necessarily like have that really typical tough guy persona. So it's not, do you know what I mean? Like, where it's...
I'm sure there's names going through your head just now that you just don't want to say.
But, like, it's, you know, it's not all about how well you can climb, how fast you can do stuff, how tough and you look and how much of a hero you are.
Yeah.
So it's not just... I think that's helped more women come through the schemes, because generally, like, very generalising here, women are better with the soft skill stuff. That comes a bit more naturally.
Yeah.
Whereas it's maybe something that men have to work on a little bit more, or they maybe not work on, but...
We had to ditch the bravado to get to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And also, like, it's maybe thinking about how you favour the two. So it's maybe that generally men would favour technical skills to be the most important part. And yes, I always when I'm talking about this, I'm always like, it's generalising. So obviously, there's
like,
people that buck the trend on both sides.
Good generalisation. I think it's a strong one for most instructors.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So I think having that bigger focus on the soft skills as well has helped that. And I think as well, just seeing people come through and realise that there isn't a single way to be an instructor.
Oh, so glad you said that. So glad you said that.
Like, you don't have to, you don't have to look the same.
Yeah.
And you don't
like, it was for a long time. It was like, if you were an instructor, you were carbon copies of each other. That was it. You dressed the same, you acted the same, you said the same thing, you had the same syllabus, not just the same syllabus, but you had the same way of putting the information out there.
So I think that's allowed a lot more space for, like, I feel like I'm quite a giggly person. And
No!
Yes!
Really?
But I'm not sure, like, that, I don't know. I just feel like it maybe wouldn't have been a trait that was considered a good.
No, in the 60s you didn't laugh out the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've been lucky because there's some female WMCIs, like Lou Reynolds and Julie Baum, who have come through the scheme in the last 10 years, or through those higher awards, who are just really great fun. So I've been able to see them, which is great. So I think that's partly how it's changed as well. But I mean, before my MCI assessment, like on the Sunday night, I painted my nails because I was like, I found last year, my friend brought some nail varnish to Reef because she was just going to mark up some of her carabiners. And I was like, I hadn't painted my nails in years. I was like, oh, should we do it? And I was like, oh, it makes me feel like just more confident when I'm climbing for no reason, really. But it works.
Whatever
so
works, isn't it?
Well, I'm definitely doing it on my assessment then.
Yeah, I think like you're right. We're out of the stage of the carbon copy, and instructors, regardless of gender, are a little bit more free to be themselves and do the things that give them that little bit of confidence, like purple nails.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Do you think those changes? Do you think we've gone down the right route, and we're just playing catch up now, or is there still things that need to change?
I think we have gone down the right route. I think it'll be a bit of a generational thing as well. So I think the instructors that are currently coming through are going to have a much better idea of just the fact that, anyone can be an instructor coming from any background.
Yeah.
Just because we're seeing more people from different backgrounds coming through. I mean, it's still such low numbers, but it's not zero anymore. Yeah. So there's still going to be a way to go.
Yeah, I wonder if we're ever going to get a balance. So I had a brief conversation. Oh God, who was it with? I can't even remember who it was with now. Who was saying that similar things to what you're saying. Like we're doing the right things. It is starting to get there. It's going to take a long time to get there. There's still a few things that need to be changed, but there's also the sort of biological element to it, where 1 week out of the month, it's being hard going out and being a climbing instructor for girls. Like, and there's no way around that. It's tough, and I wonder if we're ever going to get to the balance while that is still a thing. Yeah, and obviously it's always going to be a thing.
Yeah, Yeah, I know. I think it will be, and I think the other way it's really impacting, and the reason there's so few active female WMCIs or guides is because that happens at a very generally, unless you like Lee Reynolds, who's an absolute superstar and had a WMCI by the time she was 24. Generally,
24 was she?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, superstar.
Okay, she's next on my list for interviews.
Unless, generally doing these higher level qualifications, usually women take a little bit longer because they want to be sure they have all the prerequisites, whereas guys are more likely to wing it a little bit.
Yeah.
And what that means is it comes at a very similar time in life where if you want to have kids, you need to think about it now. And then what we tend not to see is women coming back into working at that high level after having kids.
Yeah.
And again, that's unlikely to change.
That's not really going to change, is it?
No, but when you think about a lot of guys who are working at that high level, the majority of them have families. Yeah. The huge majority. Whereas the majority of women working at that level don't have kids.
Yeah.
And I think there's two I can think of that have come back into it work after kids.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's not going to change. So that is with that. I don't see how we're ever going to get a proper balance. We're always going to be fighting against that. So where while we're still trying to get that balance, we're trying to get equality, equity in everywhere we can. If we're never going to get to that truly balanced stage, where is for want of a better word, acceptable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard because you need to have the statistics to look at if things are improving or how things are changing, but it's almost not about the numbers. And there's never going to be a number we can put on it, because I don't think we can ever say, well, we want it to be 50-50. But we need to get to a place where anybody coming into it should feel like should feel like they can, and they're not facing more barriers than somebody else.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about that, but the reason we have the statistics is to look at the trends. Because we need the figures to back up kind of what we're saying.
How do I word this? While we're trying to make everybody feel like they can if they want to, part of that obviously is, in any social media, you mentioned social media and stuff before, like any media that's going out there, representation is super, super, super important. Yeah. And again, I can't remember who I was kind of having this chat with, but it kind of dawned on me afterwards that female instructors like you that kind of come in and have all the ambition to get to WMCI, you're going to get all the tickets, and you very quickly become the face of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And very, very quickly become the face of a lot of things and get put into not situations, but get asked to do work or talk at things or be a representative of certain things that, God, if I was an instructor that had been an instructor for the same amount of time, I'd be super nervous to be in because, I know for the first couple of years of being an instructor, I wouldn't feel confident being like the representative for instructors. Yeah. Whereas, I think we get it a lot where female instructors that have got all of the passion like you get thrown into situations like that. Like, what's your take on that? Like, how did you feel about that?
So I don't mind it at all. I'm quite happy.
I kind of guessed not.
Yeah. I'm
just take everything in your stride.
Yeah, but I also. So I think it depends a little bit on where you sit as well. So for me, an important thing that, I want to inspire more women to do this. I want to be seen as that positive role model. So I'm going to take up that space when it's there. I think for other people, they maybe, I know some other women don't feel like they want to be in the spotlight and want to kind of just say, well, look, I'm here doing it. But even though that's the case, I think especially with social media at the moment, it needs to be visible. And yes, it'll be visible to people you're having direct contact with. But if we want to inspire people who didn't even know this was a thing, then we need to go out with the kind of outdoor bubble. And so I feel personally that just doing it and plugging away and not really speaking out about it isn't enough if what you want to do is inspire more women. If that's not really a concern, then crack on, do whatever you want. But yeah, I think that's how I look at it. And that could be the case for any protected characteristic.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that. Like, we're talking all this about getting more women in the instructing side, but this goes for any underrepresented group.
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah. It was a while ago I had that conversation and I kind of thought about it. Like, I've seen instructors that are their first year of MIA or whatever that are like poster childs for Amy, and I'm like, man, if I was my first year, I'd be like, I do not want to be that person.
Yeah, I know. I think we do get thrust into the spotlight a little bit more, but
I mean, you do it really well, to be fair.
Thanks. It does depend on what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But if it's not visible, there's not going to be a change.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, if you want people to feel like they can get into it and the sport is for them, you have to have representation there, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
God, yeah, I'd still feel super weird about it. If my face was there and I'd be like, I don't know. I haven't worked out what kind of instructor I am yet, but look at me!
Yeah, it's quite funny. The Mountaineering Scotland, because we've got these women-only winter courses going out, they've both been like photos of me, which has been really funny.
Yeah, you are going to be the face of everything mountain safety from now on.
Yeah.
Ben's going to get slowly pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Like, his time's done.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna flip this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you are. How do I categorize you? An unashamed top rope tough girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You actively speak out and fight against the gatekeepers in our sport.
Yeah.
The gatekeepers, you used that word earlier. I freaking love that term, gatekeepers, because it just summarizes some people really well.
Yeah.
Apologies if you're a gatekeeper, we're calling you out.
Yeah.
So let's kind of start this with what would you say your biggest trigger is? What's your biggest trigger sentence that comes from ethics or gatekeeping or?
So it could be used either in climbing or outdoors or hill walking. You see it if either of the words proper or traditional are used. So,
Explain.
Like, that person's not a proper climber. They're not the type of traditional hill walkers we see. That kind of thing. That really gets my back up. It makes me so mad.
When have you heard that? Like, what kind of climbing do you hear people saying that, oh, you're not a proper climber?
It's actually something that I've had to unlearn myself.
Had to unlearn?
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, I've definitely been guilty about saying that. I'm going to apologise now to every speed climber I've ever known.
But what I think it comes a little bit from the environment you started in, and obviously the influences, the external influences you had as you were starting. And I just want to be clear that I mentioned Gordon earlier, and this is in no way talking about Gordon.
You hear that, Gordon?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
No,
you're the gatekeeper.
No, definitely not. But I think there's an air of superiority from people who have trad climbed for a long time and maybe gone into qualifications.
Oh.
Or some people, not all people.
We're not generalising here.
No, some people. And so things like only climbing indoors isn't seen as proper climbing. Or only seconding isn't seen as a proper climber.
What? No, really? That comes from the old school trad climbing instructors who go out...
Not always instructors.
Not always, but they actively go out and part of their work is teaching seconding.
Yeah. I think there is a bit of that, yeah. And I think it's maybe not so much in like current, not people who are still currently delivering. Like you're not gonna...
You're scrabbling not to annoy people here.
Well, I just don't want to put people off.
No, this is Scotland. You can wind people up all you like. This is totally cool. We're all about the controversial here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, because obviously doing the qualifications, you have to have led. You have to lead. Mm-hmm. But not everyone wants to do the qualifications. And so not everybody's values are the same. And just because of that, it doesn't mean they're any less of a climber than you. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think like anybody who is an old school instructor or an old school trad climber or whatever, in fact, old school instructors that has those kind of thoughts that you need to be an outdoor climber to be a real climber. Like, there are more indoor climbers than there are of you.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Especially now. Yeah. Yeah. And then the other times you see it a lot on social media, when groups, affinity groups like Black Girls Hike or Muslim Hikers or Boots and Beard, whatever, you post photos of their walks, publicise it. There's kind of, you see the word kind of traditional around that a little bit, like, kind of people saying, oh, well, let me think, not necessarily directed at them, but it's people saying, the hills are so busy now, preferred it when, back in the days when knew who you were going to say. It was traditional.
It was just 5 old white guys with big beards. That was
exactly,
it.
Yeah.
That's what they're actually
pulled
saying.
up socks and shorts. Yeah. So those phrases really make me mad.
That really annoys me as well, because I've done a bit of work with like, Boots and Beards and stuff, and there was one big one, I think it was one of their Nevis walks, they got a load of, well, they didn't get a load of abuse, they got some abuse from a couple of people, and it really wound me up, but there was also, I'm glad to say, a huge majority of people defended them, and like it is, yes, these things that we hear are super annoying and completely inappropriate and wrong. Gladly, there's not many of them, and they're getting less. I think, but still,
I think so. It is going to be slightly generational. But the other thing that, for me, I feel like climbing is a bubble, and everybody in climbing in the outdoors shares my point of view. But then you see things like that, and it's like, no, it is just a slice of society, and there's going to be people that have differing views, and it's just that I surround myself with people that share my values.
Part of the social media world as well, like people are going to say things just to piss people off. Like probably don't even believe it themselves. They're just going to say it because it winds people up. Like,
and they can without any.
There are going back to the gatekeeping thing. There are things that are definitely within our bubble. That people do truly believe. Like, I described you as the top rope tough girl. Like, top roping isn't real climbing because you're not lead climbing. Like, you can't claim to climb something if you just top rope it. Like, that kind of stuff, man.
I know. Ethics mind me of so.
Like, I have this debate a lot with, I'm not going to name him, a close friend and colleague of mine.
Okay,
who's, you know, a super old school climber from the generations that they were just going out and on-sighting stuff. And I know that, like, he loves to wind me up and, you know, plays devil's advocate a bit, but I know that he won't claim an ascent or a first ascent for anything that he hasn't on-sighted. And if he goes back and repeats something, he won't record it. And I know that if I go out and head point something, throw top rope on and work it and whatever, like, he'll give me a load of crap for it because I didn't do it properly. I didn't try for the on-site. Those days are done. Like, those days are done. The idea that you cannot, like, how would you respond if you went out and went to go for a climb, you top roped it 40 times until you were totally confident on it, and then you finally got on the lead and stuck it on UKC, and someone was like, "Oh no, you didn't climb that."
I'd probably just ignore them.
Well,
to be honest, but I mean, like, it doesn't mean it wouldn't affect me in my head. I think I'm now at the point where I'm quite happy that I know what climbing means to me, and that's all that matters. And, like, so my partner Barry, he won't log something on UKC if he's already climbed it before, and he won't log it if he hasn't climbed it clean. Whereas, like, if I've absolutely dogged the shit out of something, I'm putting on UKC anyway. I might put it down as a dog route. But, or even if I've had a little rest or my foot slipped, like, I don't care. That's going on UKC, and I tend not to use the style box unless I have dogged the shit out of it. And by that, I mean, I've seconded something and I've pulled on a little bit and be like, Barry, take the rope tight, and then I slam back onto it and just done that the whole way up the route. I won't claim that it's completely climbing.
I think you said a sentence there that absolutely sums all of this up. You know what climbing means to you. Like, I don't care what kind of climbing you do. I don't care how old you are, how long you've been doing it. Climbing means something to you. It means something different to me. It means something different to the person down the road. It means something different to the only indoor boulder. Like, it is a personal thing that we do. And Callum describes this really, really well. Like, it's such a funny weird thing we do. We climb on small rocks.
Oh yeah.
Like we climb to the top of small rocks. Like
Yeah, we
it's
just make it
in the
really
grand
hard.
scheme of things, it's a bizarre thing, but for us, it means so much. But
Yeah.
it's our thing, and
Yeah.
the way I want to do it is that's the way I want to do it.
Exactly.
You don't get a say in that.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, and I think it's fine if you think, well, you know, on sighting a first ascent is the only way it should be done. But that's fine so long as you don't take that judgment out to other people. That's just one example, obviously. But
What do you think? So there's like the old school sentiment. I want to get your take on it. That the on-site is the purest form of climbing.
again, like, I think it's up to you. It's whatever. For me, climbing is generally about enjoyment. So surely the purest climber is like whenever you've had the most fun.
Oh God, the happiest climber is the one who's having the most fun.
But the purest form, like, I don't know. And what does it mean by the purest form? Like, what does that phrase even mean?
According to Kev Haddock,
Yeah.
and most of the climbers of his generation,
Yeah.
the purest form of climbing is the on-site because it's the purest form of adventure.
Yeah.
And that's what trad climbing is adventure. But I don't, that definitely cannot apply to sport. It can't apply to bouldering.
Yeah.
It can only really apply maybe to trad climbing. However, I don't think, and I've said this on the podcast before, I don't think anybody has ever on-sighted a route and gone, nailed that. Couldn't improve that.
I know.
Like, you scurried and scratched your way up it really sugary. Like, that was not pure. It was adventurous.
Yeah. And is it pure if you thought you were going to die?
Yeah.
But am I going to look back on that, get to the top and think, oh wow, what a pure experience.
Yeah, totally.
So glad I didn't fall off and almost die.
If you've top roped something a bunch of times and, you know, you lead something totally smoothly and absolutely rock it, that feels pure.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, it's more than just the complete enjoyment as well. I guess it's like what headspace you're in, but that you could be having a really amazing time and in that amazing headspace on a route you've done a million times before, and this time you're seconding it.
Yeah,
and that's great.
That's cool. Is it different at all between the different disciplines for you? Because you kind of do all the disciplines.
Yeah.
Like, is it different? Is that not that enjoyment, but is the
satisfaction?
The satisfaction is the thing that you enjoy about it different across disciplines?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely prefer trad, and I do like the adventurousness of it, and I like that you're completely reliable on yourself. That's what I really like about trad, and I would choose to have spend a full day doing a big easy trad route rather than a day either doing like a harder single pitch trad or sport. So for me, a lot of it is about the adventure of something, and I like getting on something bigger. I enjoy sport because it's usually a bit more stress-free and it's a nice escape from that. And for me, I'm not that good at bouldering, but I enjoy it because if I do something, then it's almost more of a sense of achievement than any of the other disciplines. But also because I get to sit down on the mat, so especially if it's sunny. I love going bouldering when it's sunny.
Why do you think that's more? It feels like more of an achievement than the others.
Because it's generally a more powerful style, and I'm not a powerful climber.
Because you've had to try harder for it.
Yeah. And I don't like jumping off, and I get quite scared bouldering. So if
outdoors is terrifying.
Yeah. So if I've like completed a boulder and topped out, that's cool. That's a big thing. And then for winter's very much like trad.
Yeah.
But like times.
Winters, I think winter's the only one where the on-site makes absolutely no sense. Because every time you get on a route, whether you've done it 20 times or not, like it
could be different.
So condition dependent, it's different.
Yeah.
Like every time is an on-site.
Yeah. You might know where the belay is, but it might be under a
a shit ton of snow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that bit of gear that you normally get, oh, the chokestone's gone.
Yeah. Oh, we did me and Barry did the chasm back in 2018 and the converging walls pitch. Like, I was like, this is blooming nails for VS. And then you go back on UKC and look at the photos of all this chockstone that everyone used to slay.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
That wasn't there.
Yeah. So there's no gear, no foothold, but also like, should it have been there as gear?
Yeah. It's interesting. I like hearing where different people's enjoyment comes from in the different disciplines, because it is different.
Yeah.
But like, people always enjoy different things about the different disciplines as well. Yeah. I think that's where you learn kind of who you are mostly as a climber.
Yeah.
If there's a question, actually, while you're saying that, your favourite is trad and winter because it's a colder, extended version of trad.
Yeah.
And it's super adventurous. Like, do you get the same enjoyment, or is it a different enjoyment, or do you not enjoy it when it's like Bluebird Day compared to Savage Day?
Yeah, I think when it's Bluebird Day, obviously it's amazing. It's really hard not to enjoy it.
Yes.
I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be great. When it's like blowing a hoolie and blizzarding, in some ways there's an enjoyment in the suffering a little bit, but I also find myself either leading or stood on the belay for a long time being like, what were those life decisions that brought me here?
Why am I here?
How far back did these life decisions happen?
Yeah. That's winter climbing for me. Like, obviously the Bluebird days, like you said, it's hard to not enjoy that.
Yeah.
I really don't like being cold.
Yeah, I think I deal quite well with being cold. Like, I don't get hot aches, which people get outraged at. They're like, well, you obviously haven't climbed enough.
Get hot aches.
Just got really good circulation. No, I don't know. I've never had
You
hot
suck.
aches. Never had hot aches in my hands.
What?
Yeah.
At some point, you need to get the screaming barfies.
Well, see, people say this. They say, oh, well, you've obviously just not climbed enough. Or, I'm like, well, okay.
I don't think anybody can say that about you.
10 years. Jeez. I've had hot aches once in my feet after a spring river crossing.
Did you get your boots wet?
Well, no, I needed to take my boots off.
Oh, right. It wasn't like a boulder hop.
No,
Okay.
No. It was like properly in there. And I was with my friend Sarah, and she was behind me, and I was like, I have to get out of this water as quick as possible. And I got on the bank, and I was like, felt dizzy, wanted to throw up. And I was like, if Sarah had fallen over and banged her head or just laid in the river, I was like, there's literally nothing I could do about it at that point. I was like, there's no brain space for thinking about Sarah. And I was like, God, imagine you got this every time you went winter climbing. That would be really rubbish.
Yeah, kind of sucks.
Yeah. Imagine you got it multiple times a day. Like, I just don't know if I'd...
Like when you're supposed to be sitting there concentrating on beeline, but you cannot feel anything or concentrate on anything other than the throbbing pain in the ends of your fingers.
No, see, what I get, what I get is, my hands obviously get cold. There's no way around it. They get cold. I try and move as much as I can on a belay. So, like, I'll stomp my feet around.
Shimmy.
Yeah, like, I don't know, do whatever I can with my arms. I got told quite
just for the people that are listening to this and can't see you, you're like doing a little dance in the chair.
Like I'm shaking maracas right now. I got Julie Barrett told me while she was going for her assessment. What she does is before she leaves the belay, she does some quick like punches to get blood back in. But then what I get is I start climbing and I'm like, oh, my hands are a bit cold. I can feel everything. And then I get this lovely warm tingling as the blood comes back into my hands.
See, that's meant to be the hot aches.
Pleasant.
That's meant to be the hot
Yeah, I know,
aches.
but it's actually really nice.
Are.
It's like a little bit pins and needly, but I'm like, oh yes, it's all coming back now.
You are a freaking bitch.
I like to wind Barry up by saying, I'm just adapted to be in this environment. I just cope so well.
freak of nature. You're a mutant.
Yeah. My feet get cold. They're worse than my hands, I think. But again, like, I don't get hot aches in my feet while I'm climbing.
I want to know, or I want to redo that question after your first bout of proper hot aches.
But I
want to ask you, do you still get the same amount of satisfaction while you're sitting on a belay ledge for 2 hours, screaming and throwing up into the snow next to you because your fingers are on fire?
See, I genuinely think I'm immune.
You're going to live to regret that. I hope you get it this year, just for saying that.
I think
hopefully not on your training.
I think it would need, like, my gloves to be completely soaked or something. You know, I think it would need quite drastic things.
But that could be arranged.
But quite often, like, I know I have damp gloves, but I'm still fine.
You weirdo. Well, I hope that happens to you this year. However, I hope that it's not on your training or your assessment.
Yeah.
And I do genuinely hope that you manage to tick the... I'm going to give you the year of 30.
Okay.
To take your WMCI.
I don't think I will, but we'll see.
I've got the faith.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right, well, thank you very much for sitting down.
No worries.
Let's go get some dinner.
Yes.
That
would be lovely. Go pet the dog again.
Go pet the dog.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Good luck for the WMCI.
Thanks.
Having done all of that winter climbing in Scotland in savage weather and still never having had proper hot aches makes me sick. Genuinely. She talks about gatekeeping, but I'm going to say you can't be a proper Scottish winter climber unless you've had the hot aches. There we go. The gauntlet has been set down. Kirsty, you need to get on that. No, I kid. Kirsty is awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you very much for sitting down with me. That was really, really cool. And yeah, we got into some good topics there. I hope it opened your minds a little, made you think. That's what Kirsty's good at. But yeah, Kirsty's been climbing for a while. And one of the main reasons she has been around a while is when she goes out, she does her body checks. So be like Kirsty, do your body checks.